I'm back to Tell the Truth channel. Please like, share my content on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and what other content that y'all go on. I appreciate that very much. I am in Jesus, and Jesus is in me. All right. My daddy want me to talk to y'all about some things about y'all, the things that he have y'all on this earth to do. Because, some people don't realize that they have a calling and they don't understand their calling. And some people do understand their calling. Some people don't realize that God have them to call, he have them calling to do certain things. And sometimes they don't realize that that be their calling. So he want me to explain this to y'all about some of the people that don't understand it, the calling that they have. And they don't know the calling. They don't understand why. They don't understand about the calling that they have, and they don't know if they have a calling. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so look, this is what I want y'all to understand about me. When I'm trying to talk to y'all, it be God telling me what to say to y'all. So if I mess up a little bit on certain things that I be saying, forgive me on that, because that be God guiding me, having me to say the words to y'all. And I be trying to, like, sometimes get the words right on what he be saying, so I mess up a little bit. So if I mess up a little bit, forgive me on that, okay? Because that be God challenging me and telling me what to say to y'all when I be talking to y'all. So forgive me if I mess up a little bit as I'm talking. Okay, so I'm going to explain to y'all I found, how I knew about my calling. Well, I knew about my calling when I was young. Like I said, I knew my calling when I was 9 years old. Everybody don't know about their calling. Some people don't think that they have a calling, but they do. They just don't know how to to understand the calling. So this is what he want me to talk to y'all about. So I had my calling when I was 9 years old, and I didn't have nobody to help me, to guide me with my calling. I had to do this on my own. I didn't have no help, you know. So as I got older, I started, getting understanding more and more about my calling as I started getting older. And at first, my calling used to scare me from when I was 9 years old and stuff. As I got older, it used to scare me because it was things that I was seeing that I didn't even understand when I was going through this. I didn't understand it. And, I was afraid. And I can talk to my my family, my parents and stuff about it, but they didn't understand what I was going through because they weren't going. They couldn't experience what I was going through, so they didn't understand. They listened, but they didn't know what I was seeing and what I was going through, so they couldn't help me. And then I had somebody in the family that understood my calling, but she wasn't around me, and that was my grandma. And I wasn't close to my grandmama at that time. Now, when I was young, like my grandmothers, they like would come over to the house for, you know, my birthday, for graduations and stuff like that. They would come to see me, you know. And at the time, I didn't know that my grandmothers them knew about things like this, about gifts. I didn't know about it because my mama didn't ever tell me that my grandmama had a calling on her. So I didn't know who to go to. But as I got older, got like 15 and 16 and 17 and stuff like that, that's the time when my grandmama moved in the house with me, with my parents, and then I started talking to my grandma, and then my grandma, she started helping me with my gifts and stuff because I was going through things, and I didn't know, the things that I was going through because back then when I was like 15 and stuff. So I didn't even know about psychics back then when I was that age. So let me explain something to y'all. Now this might be a part two to this because it's a lot. It might be a part two, a part three. It's a lot to this. Okay. So anyway, um, I had met this psychic, and I was 15 years old, and I met this psychic, and I was walking to the store one day. My mother sent me to the store, and I went to the store and I ran into the psychic. So the psychic asked me, did I want her to do, read my palm and all that stuff. And I was excited because I didn't know. I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. So at the time, I was dating back then. I was like 15 years old. And I was dating my oldest son's father at the time. I was dating him. And I was like really in love with my son's father. I was so in love with this man. I was really in love with him. And me and my son's father used to always talk about we're going to get married and all that stuff. He's going to buy me a wedding ring, and that he put down a wedding ring and all that stuff for me and all that stuff. And I was excited, So, when you're young, you don't, you say things when you're young. You always plan things when you're young because that's how you is. When you boyfriend and girlfriend, you always say what you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And had no idea, but one day you might end up moving on with your life. So, I was so in love with him. So one day, me and my boyfriend, my son's father, we broke up. And one day I went to the store again, and I ran to the psychic again. And she walked up to me and she said, I see you have problems. Do you have a boyfriend? Because it seemed like you and your boyfriend broke up and all that stuff. And I said, yeah. So she said, okay, so I want you to come over my house with me, and I'm going to read your palm. So I goes over there, and I let her read my palm and all that. And she told me, she said, if you want your boyfriend back, then you have to bring me 3 things of his, and I can make sure that you will be with him forever. And when I left out of her house and I started walking, something didn't feel right to me when she said that. Like when she said that, something didn't feel right. So I said, no, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna bring something of his so she can like bind, cause like she said, she's binding me to him. That's what she's trying to do. She's finna bind us together so he never leave. So I say, no, I'm not finna do that. That don't sound right. That just don't sound right. So I didn't go back. For a while, I didn't go back. So one day, my mama sent me to the store again. So as I'm walking to the store, I ran into this lady again, and she walked up on me. She walked up on me, and she said, didn't I tell you to bring me some stuff so I can keep this boy with you that you like? Didn't I tell you to do that? I told you to bring me some stuff. I'm looking like, what the heck? Why is this lady hollering at me like that? If I didn't want to come back to you, I didn't have to come back to you. So I knew something wasn't right. And then she said, if you don't come back and bring me what I told you, I'm going to curse you. I'm like, what? That's what I said. So I ran home. I didn't talk to my grandma because I didn't know that my grandma had the gift. I didn't talk to nobody. I just kept it to myself. I'm looking like, I brushed it off like, whatever. Like, whatever. So I brushed it off. Then all of a sudden, I start having bad things happening to me. Like, just bad things start happening. Like, every time I walk somewhere, something bad happened. I mean, I was just having bad things was just happening. Like, oh my God, what the heck is going on? So I got tired of bad things happening to me. So I went to my grandma. I went in the room where my grandma was at, and I started explaining to my grandma everything that was going on. So my grandma told me this. My grandma said, "This is what I want you to do." She said, "Now listen to me." And then I said, "Okay." She said, "I want you to take a warm bath I want you to get in that tub, get some Epsom salts, put it in the water, and soak in that water. I mean, soak in it good. That's what she told me. In warm water, just sit in there and soak and take and wash up with it. When you get up out of that, when you get through soaking, wash up and all that. So I did everything my grandma told me to do. And when I did that, I got up, I got out the tub and everything in the shower and all that. I got out of it, and then I went in. I went to lay down and take a nap. So when I woke up and I took a nap, I felt a whole lot better, because like whatever it is, my grandma told me it cleansed it off. It cleansed it off. So I ran into this. After it cleansed off, I had, how you have mirrors in your house, and they always say that if you break a mirror, you will have 7 years of bad luck, or whatever, 10 years of bad luck. So, one day I made a mistake and I broke a mirror, and it's like I had 7 years of bad luck. Cause Lord, I was going through some stuff. I had a lot of bad luck going on. So I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand the bad luck thing, that when you break a mirror, you can have 7 years bad luck and all that stuff. I didn't understand none of this stuff. All this stuff that we had a lot of stuff that would tell you if you cross a light, the light pole another way, you can have bad luck if you do that. If you sweep the floor and the rooms sweep your feet, you have bad luck. It's like we had so much things that we had to uh, worry about back then, because it was always bad luck things going on back in our days. So when after I did all that, like I said, after I did cleanse myself and all that, like my grandma told me, and it went away. This stuff went away and all that stuff. And then when I broke my mirror, and then I had met this girl. After I broke the mirror, I had met a girl that was, a little bit younger than me, and I used to hang out with this girl. So when I got like when I got 17, when I got 18 years old, I had got pregnant with my baby, with my father, with my son's father. I had got pregnant. So I met this girl, and me and my babies, me and my um. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go back a little bit. Let me go back. I'm just trying to remember stuff. I'm trying to remember. Not when I was 18. I say when I was 20, because me and my son's father broke up, and he went his way and I went my way. So I met another man, and I met my children's father. I met him, and because I had got pregnant by my son's father, and then I met my children's father, and then I had got pregnant by my children's father, and I was carrying twins. At the time, I was carrying twins, and I met this girl, and I guess she must have had a crush on my children's father, that she got mad when she found out I was pregnant. She said to me, "I hope you lose one of your kids," because she knew I was carrying twins. So she said out of her own mouth, "I hope you lose one of your twins." And I'm looking like, why would you say that? Why would you want me to lose one of my children's? So, because sometimes when you speak things out of your mouth, you cursing somebody. You say things, you can put a curse on a person, don't even realize that you cursing that person when you say certain things. You are. So when she said that, she put a curse on me. And when I had my babies, I lost one of my twins. Like she said, I did. I lost one of my twins. And his niece found out, and I don't know what she did. I think she went to handle it with her or whatever. But when my when my children's father found out that she cursed me on that, I guess he went off on her or whatever. I don't know, but I know the girl was didn't come around no more because I guess after she found out that she um had me to lose one of my children's, and I guess she thought that what she said out her mouth would not that she didn't think that that'll happen, but it did. And she looked at kind of like stupid. She looked sad because she didn't know that she literally said that and it came true. And she was like looking at me like, wow, I'm sorry that I said that. But I didn't think that was really going to come true, but it did. I lost my son because I was carrying twins, two boys, and they was identical twins. So I lost one. And y'all got to understand that people can say certain things that could put things on you, can happen to you when they speak things out their mouth. It can happen. Sometimes people don't even realize the things that they say that can come into focus. Sometimes people don't even realize that. But things happen because sometimes whatever you speak out your mouth can come. It can happen. And you don't realize it, but it can. It happens. So, anyway, fast forward to all of that. Because I'm supposed to be talking to y'all about the gifts. And so, because like I said, I ain't gonna be on here. I'm gonna have to start it again, another video. Anyway, so about the gifts, when you got a calling, God show you your calling, different kind of ways. Like, I knew I had a calling, like I said, and I was using my calling when I was staying over there at the house with my ex-husband and my kids. I was, doing what God was telling me to do there. But then I knew I had a calling when we got a divorce. I knew God wanted me to do something when we got a divorce, so that's why I end up here. But the point is that other people didn't know that they had a calling. So when you got a calling, sometimes you could be placed a certain place and you don't know that's your calling, because you could be talking to somebody and helping somebody and don't even know that God placed you there to help that person. That's your calling. Your calling comes all different kind of ways. Helping somebody, you know. Your calling can be like, say somebody in the store and they don't have enough to get what they need. God placed you there to help that person. That was your calling. Wherever you go and you end up at a certain place, God is putting you there to help that person. You don't realize that, but that be your calling. So say you ask God for a job and he give you this job, but you don't like the job, but that's the job he gave you because that's where he wants you to be at that time. He placed you there because somebody at that job needs you, but you don't know that until you end up interacting with somebody, and then all of a sudden you say something to somebody and that person feel better after you said that to that person. That be your calling. That's how calling works. You might end up somewhere and you don't even know that God placed you there, and you end up helping somebody. Like, say for instance, God placed you somewhere and you see this person and somebody else walk up to that person and about to do something to that person, but all of a sudden you walk right to that person just before that person come up to that person to try to do something to that person, and then you walk up to that person, start talking to that person and everything, saying everything to that person, and then that other person look at you and walk away. That was your calling to be there to save that person before that person got there to touch that person. That's how callings work. That's how your calling works. So wherever God placed you to go, that's going to be your calling. Wherever you go, you might not realize that when you end up at that place, something might happen, and then you all of a sudden do something or say something or whatever. That's your calling. Cause like one day when I was living in the projects, and I didn't know that God placed me in the projects at that time with my children's and my ex-husband, and it was this girl that lived right up over me, and we grew up together, but she wasn't my age. She was like my brothers and sisters in them age. She was their age, but she stayed right up over me, and she used to be doing things, that I didn't know about, but I knew something was wrong because every time I see her, like we would speak, like say how you doing. We ain't never have a conversation and stuff like that. We'll just speak. So one day I was in my house, she was in her house, and all of a sudden water started falling down from the ceiling, just dripping down, coming down, coming down. And I knew after I knew that the water was dripping and coming down, I'm looking like, why is my house? Why is water coming down out my house? Where's this girl at? Is she in her home or something? So I had to go and, like knock on her door. I had to go upstairs and knock on her door to tell her that her water is dripping down to my house. So I'm knocking, I'm beating, and she's not answering. I'm beating on her door like I'm really kicking it, trying to kick the door down. And she's not hearing me. So I said, wait a minute, something is wrong. Why is she not responding to me? And this water just started dripping. Is she in her house or what? So I runs back down to my house and I call the police. So I tell the police, I say, it's this girl, this lady that lives over me. She have water dripping down in my house, just falling down. I don't know, is something going on in her house or what? I don't know. Is she okay or what? Because ain't nobody responding. So he said, did you see her? I said, yes, I saw her go in her house. But I don't know from there what happened. I just know that it's water dripping down. I don't know if she asleep. I don't know what's going on. I just know that I'm beating on her door and she's not answering. So the police, they start knocking. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And she not answering. She not answering. So the police, you know how they do it. They had to go downstairs and get their little letter and whatever they get to get into the girl house. So they had to get the letter to, go up to her window. So they told me, keep knocking. Keep knocking on that door till she answers. So I kept kicking. Boom, boom, boom. I'm calling her name. I'm kicking on the door. I'm calling her name. I'm kicking on the door. Study, what's her name? And she finally woke up. Before the police even got up there, before they even had the fire department, because when they have the fire department, when you call the police, the fire department, the ambulance, they all come at the same time. They all come. So they start climbing up to the window, but just in case, just before they got ready to break her window, she came to the door. So she opened the door, and she said that she must have left her gas on or something. She don't know, but she fell asleep. Her and her kids. She fell asleep and she didn't hear nothing. But when I opened the door, she told me all that. She said she fell asleep. She didn't hear nothing. And she told me, she said, thank you so much for saving my life. Because she could have died in that house. It was carbon monoxide probably had knocked her out. And her kids didn't hear nothing. So as I kept beating on the door and she finally heard me, she opened the door and she jumped up. And when the police came, they smelled it. They smelled the gas, because you can smell gas. Some people can't smell gas, but I can smell gas a lot of weight. I can smell gas. So she didn't know. So I kept kicking. Then she opened the door and she told me, she said, thank you so much for saving my life, because I didn't even know that I left the gas on, because sometimes you could turn on your eye and don't even know that you still got that eye on. And like I say, some people can't smell gas. And some people can smell gas. So she must didn't smell it. And it went through her whole house and knocked her out and her children's out. So she opened the door and she told me, thank you so much. And the police told me, thank you for calling them, because she could have died in that house. If that water when it came down my house and dropped down from the ceiling into my house, she would have been dead and her family. So that's why the police said that was good that I kept beating on that door. and come down there to call them and then go back right back up there and keep beating on that door till she answered. So she answered. And she woke up and every time she saw me, she was just telling me, I'm so grateful for you, what you did for me. Thank you so much. Every time she see me, she'll say my name. Thank you so much for saving my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for saving me and my children's life. And then she went and told everybody what I did. I mean, everybody. And, me and her got close. We got real close because I saved her life. So that's your calling. You never know when God gonna place you somewhere and you end up saving somebody's life. So when you say, I don't know my calling, you might not know your calling at that time until you end up doing something for somebody. Wherever it is your calling. So if somebody come up to you and say, excuse me, I don't have no money, and you give them some money, that's your calling. Wherever God place you and somebody come up to you or you go up to somebody, that's your calling. That's your calling. That's how it works. So you can't never say, I don't know my calling. Everybody have a calling, but everybody have a calling a different way. A different way. A different way, everybody have a calling. So you can't say, I don't know my calling. Because some people do know they calling. Some people don't know they calling. But when you get placed a certain place, wherever God put you, that's your calling. That's your calling. You might not know it at the time until you do what you do. So I'm going to come back. Thank y'all for listening to me. Jesus love you. Father love you. The Holy Ghost, the angels, the ancestors, and I love y'all. And I'll be back to talk to y'all again. I will be right back. Don't go nowhere. I'll be back. And I'll see y'all soon. I'll be back.